Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of the M&K Productions podcast. I'm your host, Mac, joined here once again from my co-host, Kristen, aka Miss Flamingo. Or should I just start calling you Miss Flamingo and just slip to Kristen, or just keep that?
You can just keep it as Kristen. I like, people knowing I'm just more than the Miss Flamingo. Like, I have a name.
I have a name too, but for legal purposes, I'm not going to release it. But yeah, welcome back, Kristen. How are we doing today?
We're doing good. This is our big anticipated episode of the Kissing Booth 3, and I decided that Mac didn't get to watch this, but I need to alert you all on how bad He's All That is.
Yeah, the new remake with TikTok star Addison Rae and whatever the other dude's name is. Is he TikTok?
It's Tanner Buchanan. He is from Cobra Kai.
So something good mixed with something bad, mixed with something that shouldn't have never happened. What a combination.
The thing is, there's good people in that movie. It just is terrible.
Yeah, but we'll get to all that, but the main meat and potato will be the Kissing Booth 3. So on today's show, we're going to be talking about some film news that have popped up since we recorded last week. Then Kristen's going to give her thoughts about He's All That, because I'm curious to see what she has to say about this. And then we're going to be talking about the end of an era, the last film of this epic trilogy, the Kissing Booth 3. We're going to be talking about that and giving our thoughts about that. Then we're going to be going into some upcoming releases and weekend box office numbers for the last, and give you another M&K upfront of what's coming next. So are you ready to go, Kristen?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's get right into the news. Let's do this.
This is CNN.
Hey everyone, it's Kristen editing this episode and this segment, what you're about to hear about the news. Mac and I do talk about Venom and the Jackass films. We understand that the releases have been changed, but we talk about them. So this is all right before the change up. So please listen to what we have, and I hope you enjoy the rest of our segment. Thanks.
All right, so the news for this new film week, I will start it off with this juicy news, which was actually released 20 hours ago. So, Kristen, did you know that we're getting another Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie that's going to be a direct sequel to the 1974 film directed by Tobe Hooper? Did you know that officially 20 hours ago, the new movie will be releasing on Netflix later this year?
On Netflix?
Yes.
I did hear it, but I'm still trying to comprehend it's going to be on Netflix.
So the film is expected to pick up right after where Hooper left off in 1974, bringing audiences to a point in which the terrors of Leatherface haven't been known for quite some time. Along with the character's return, fans can undoubtedly expect much of the same violence and mayhem that past entries have provided, and the film will mark director David Blue Garcia's first foray into horror genre after his 2018 debut film, the crime thriller Tiano. There is no official date for the Texas Chainsaw Massacre film, but it is coming later this year and it will be on Netflix. So what do you think about that? You excited for a new Texas Chainsaw film?
Yeah, but I think we're probably going to get it around Halloween. I think towards the end of the month.
Really?
Yeah, I think this has been probably going on for at least a hot moment, trying to figure that out. And for Netflix to release it at the end of Halloween, it just screams literally that. Perfect way to stay in and watch a horror movie for Halloween. I mean, when else? I watch horror movies all the time, and so does the majority of everybody else. But when you think of Halloween, you think of scary movies, and this is a great way to market it off, especially during that time. It'll probably get, the millions of views, I'm sure of it. But is it going to be good? That's the question.
Yeah, I think this is a better option to go to streaming, because a lot of people didn't even know there was a Texas Chainsaw movie coming out this year. I've been keeping up with it, I think, since last year.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh, it's the new Texas Chainsaw movie. And I'm like, I knew about it, and I was just like, okay. I'm thinking,
and given how much the previous films have kind of not per se bombed, but they were just didn't turn out great.
Let's say the only good one since the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre is the 2003 reboot there was a prequel or reboot, I don't know. So this timeline is getting confusing, and that was good. And the 2017 Leatherface pre-origin story, that one's pretty good too.
The one that still gets me in my gut feeling is Matthew McConaughey's.
Yeah.
Boomer. That never gets old. And I feel like if I reference it, not many people understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, because let's face it, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre series, it's like, first of all, it's not based on a true story. So if you want to say that, get the hell out right now. It's an iconic film, but it's just so sad that it's fallen to the wayside for the sequel-itis, because all the sequels haven't really.
Sequel-itis, I like that word.
Thank you. Like all the sequel, like nothing has really like captured the original magic of the 1974 film, and it's just like, man, like what can you do? And then the sound of this film, it sounds like they're gonna do the Texas Chainsaw. Oh, what was the 2006 one? What was the name with Jordana Brewster? And it was like, what was it? The New Beginnings or something? It was like It was produced by Michael Bay's production company, Dune.
Oh.
That one. I feel like they're going that route where it's like it's taking place before the 2003 movie and before the 1974 movie. And it's
so that would mean they would all connect then?
Well, technically speaking, there's two timelines. There is the there's the Tobe Hooper 1974, like the original series, like that timeline. And then you have the Michael Bay Dune production company timeline, which the 2017 Leatherface movie actually followed, and the 2013 reboot with Alexandra
and Trey Songz,
that follows the Michael Bay reboot. Okay. So it's so confusing. But I don't know. I'm excited. I feel like it's better for it to go to streaming so people will check it out, and maybe some parents will be like, "Hey kids, you want to know what horror movie I grew up with? Texas Chainsaw. Let's watch this." Or maybe they'll add the original ones on there too, because those are hard to find on streaming.
Yeah, I haven't been able to find the exact originals. I like even growing up, I mostly watched the like the 2000 ones. Like I haven't seen all of them, but like the ones that I just remember are, the classic,
1974, yeah.
74 version, and then the 2013 Alexandra Daddario and Trey Songz film, because I really did not like that.
I don't think anyone liked that. I think people want to forget about that movie. But yeah, Texas Chainsaw, watch out for later this year, Netflix, and it's a Netflix movie, so just give it a watch. So Christian, what news you got?
All right, are you ready for DC fandom this year?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Alrighties, because it's potentially we're gonna get maybe the trailer for the new Batman, as well as a sneak peek of the Flash that is set for DC fandom for this October.
The Hollywood 16th, right?
Yep, October 16th. And this comes up from what was successful from last year's fandom, because, there was so much being released during that time last year. We had Robert Pattinson talking about his, role, and then we had Dwayne Johnson talking about Black Adam, and where the heck that footage is, we won't know.
We won't know until next year. Watch.
Yeah. And then we're also supposed to get behind the scenes of Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom, and Shazam, the Fury of the Gods. And I'm sure there's other stuff that's going to come out as well.
I hope we get, I know you're not a gamer, but I really hope we get more footage of the new Suicide Squad game, Kill the Justice League. That's going to be made by the Arkham Knight Origins, because they released that trailer. We haven't heard anything about it since last year when that first trailer released during the first DC fandom, and I just hope that's the case. And I got something with Batman. That one's on, but I'll let you finish.
Okay, but otherwise we have a look at television, as Warner Brothers will give a new look for the new season of Batwoman, The Flash, Superman and Lois, The Sweet Tooth, which I haven't even seen yet, but I heard it's pretty good. And it's also going to pay tribute to Supergirl as it nears the end of the conclusion of the 6th season run. It'll honor DC's Legends of Tomorrow, which will reach 100 episodes, which is ahead of its upcoming season. I'm surprised DC Legends has made it to 100 episodes. I remember saying to myself, I'll watch that when it comes out maybe, but didn't. Mm-hmm. The forthcoming drama Naomi, as well as Stargirl, will also get some spotlight. And then HBO Max will unveil a look at Peacemaker, the spin-off of the Suicide Squad from James Gunn, starring John Cena. As a part of the announcement, Peacemaker unveiled its first poster for HBO Max, and HBO Max will preview the limited series DMZ, as well as a look at Titans and Doom Patrol. This is all being reported from the Hollywood Reporter, so I just read some of that. So we're going to just get some good stuff coming out from DC ahead of its strong lineup that it has. I'm really excited to see what Peacemaker is the series going to be about. I'm really, really hyped up for it now. I think this is the only HBO Max series in the superhero content franchise I'll actually watch, because I haven't watched Doom Patrol or Titans.
Doom Patrol is actually very good. Titans is like, I don't know, that F Batman trailer still gets me, and that's like, it's kind of hard for me to turn that off. But the Doom Patrol is actually very good, and it has my boy Brendan Fraser as Robot Man, so that's even a bonus.
I love Brendan Fraser. Did you see the clip that's been going around online where the woman has been saying, "We've been rooting for you"? And
he was crying,
and he was crying. That was the sweetest thing ever.
We love you, Brendan Fraser.
And then I'm mostly excited to watch it for a
Batman.
little. Yes, I think that's
I think it's the only reason
everybody's gonna watch it for, because of that.
And speaking of Batman, there's actually this little bonus news going on at DC. They have been reactions to some test screenings that for the Batman, and apparently this is from my memory. I'm not looking at my phone or anything. They were showing a 3-hour cut. People said that Robert Pattinson's voice as Batman was perfect. Paul Dano as the Riddler is insane. The ending had people on their knees going, "Oh my God!" The Batmobile was great, and and according to people, it's very gothic and horror-like. But we don't know if that's those are trustable. But if they are, then this is shaping up to be one of the most generational Batman movies of the new age,
especially since The Dark Knight.
Yeah, this could be probably people will start talking about maybe this will be better than Dark Knight. I've heard that rumblings, but we don't know yet. If this second trailer hits as hard as the first one, then I think maybe we might have a contender.
And then they were also talking about in that forum, they were saying that Zoe Kravitz plays a really good Catwoman.
Catwoman, yeah.
Which I'm kind of really excited about, because we haven't had a good Catwoman. Yeah, since Michelle Pfeiffer. I mean, Anne Hathaway was good, but I didn't really like her as much.
And technically, she wasn't Catwoman. She was just Selena Kyle.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to just about everything going ahead of this film. And then Black Adam, I just don't care for, really. I'm going to watch Black Adam because...
I know people are just hyped because it's just The Rock in a superhero movie for the first time. So it's it's fine. It's I don't know. That movie just... It'll make money, but I'm just saying it just seems kind of I don't care.
And then we got some other good stuff Aquaman, and then, Shazam. I'm excited for that Shazam movie because it's got Helen Mirren in it.
Oh, yeah.
So that's going to be really interesting to see Helen Mirren be in a superhero film. She went from now Fast and Furious and now to one of the big superhero films of, in the DC universe, which is great. What's your next news, man?
All right, so we just found this out actually a couple minutes before we went on live. So I made a disclaimer last week before we started the podcast. It's up now on YouTube and Spotify and all those. I said that we didn't get to record talking about the Spider-Man trailer and the Venom news that Venom may be pushed back to January 2022. So everyone thought it was going to get delayed. But Sony has a new poster for Venom, Let There Be Carnage, the sequel starring Tom Hardy and Woody Harrelson. And it says underneath it, exclusively in theaters October 15th. So the rumors of the delay date to January 2022 is completely untrue, is debunked now. Sony is going ahead and releasing Venom in October 15th of this year because I feel like they will lose more money if they do another delay. So what do you think about Venom not getting pushed back? Because everyone thought it was going to get late again.
I think knowing now, since the pandemic has played a part in it, and I think not wanting to release it on home video, they're like, we'll just take a shot at it. Let's see what happens. At this point, we can't, and I think they can't even afford to move it around. Given how much money. I feel like, especially when you make a film, a lot of the money goes to talent and the producers, and then there's like a whole tier that, you know, goes into negotiations and money.
Mhm.
And, you know, having Sony to waste so much money, it doesn't make sense for them anymore to be like, all right, we're going to go bankrupt if we don't release this movie on time. So let's just do it. And I know it'll make money. The problem is it's the release. It comes out that weekend.
Yeah, isn't there like a big lineup that weekend?
October is huge for movies
Because you got Dune.
We have Dune, the
Last Night in Soho.
Week films that are going to come out between October 1st and October 15th. Okay. So we had The Many Saints in Newark. Yeah. We have The Addams Family 2.
That's
No Time to Die.
Oh God, yep.
And then we have Venom. Halloween Kills.
Oh yeah.
The Last Duel, which is Ridley Scott's next film with like Ben Affleck and Matt Damon and Adam Driver. Mm-hmm. Then the week after that, we got Dune, The French Dispatch, which will probably most likely be in select theaters, not everywhere. Yeah. And then Jackass Forever. Then after that, we got Last Night in Soho and Antlers. And then I didn't mention any of the streaming stuff because we know people can go see that wherever. But, you know, that's a big weekend. So yeah, I doubt that it'll probably be number one. Like, when it comes down to it, Halloween Kills, guarantee you, would probably be number one. And then No Time to Die would probably come in at number 2. And then 3 would probably be Venom. And then Last Duel at number 4. I can't believe we're going to start talking about box office now. And, like, now. Like, that's crazy. Like,
it's been a while.
So, I mean, I'm looking at it. Releasing it then is the best way. I think they should have stuck with a September date still.
But I think they wanted to, I think maybe for this, because I feel like a September would have been better because we read that lineup. That's like a juggernaut. That's like, that should recoup a lot of the lost box office numbers for last fall. But I think they were on the fence about delaying it again. But I think a Sony execs like, listen, we got to get this movie out like now, because if we don't do this, we're gonna not only like people are gonna lose interest, because I know a lot of people they want to go see this, they want to see Venom too, and like I know that there is a lot riding with this because this is supposed to kick off Sony's shared universe with, like, you know, Spider-Man and everything.
So they probably can't even afford it anymore. And
no, so they want to
probably, and who knows? I doubt this would happen, but well, I don't know if I should say doubt, but it could fear with the Spider-Man No Way From Home film too.
This is pretty much Sony's Hail Mary. They needed to release this. They couldn't push it back because they just need this to work, because the first Venom was kind of like a mixed bag. Like, I know people liked it. Some people liked it. Some people didn't like it. I was on the fence. Like, I thought it was okay, but like it wasn't like the Venom movie that I think a lot of people wanted, like the rated R that we're getting in this one. And like, this is something they need. They've invested a lot of money. They got a new director. They got a lot of new people in the cast, and it's just like, we need this to work. So I think I'm excited to see it. I'm probably gonna see it in October, probably around Halloween, maybe just at least a little Halloween movie. And just hoping that
I'm gonna be seeing like 3 movies that weekend. Knowing myself, between Venom, Halloween Kills, and The Last Duel, I'll probably be at the theater at least 3 times that weekend, maybe, and depending how it all goes. But let us know. I want to see all those 3 movies that come out that weekend.
But let us know in the comment section below what movie will you be seeing in October, or what movies, and what do you think Venom's going to do? Do you think Venom's going to do well and tie into the MCU, or do you think it's going to bomb? You let us know in the comments down below. So, Kristen, you got any more news you want to talk about?
Yes, news. For anybody who saw the Dave Franco's directorial debut, it was so for anybody who has seen Dave Franco's directorial debut with The Rental, that's with his wife and Dan Stevens, that came out last year. It topped off the box office when it was hit during the pandemic. It hit VOD. But now Dave Franco and his wife have teamed up for a script called Somebody I Used to Know, and it is set to be on Amazon. So he's making his, I think this is a, what I might have been a rom-com. Okay, let's read it from the top from Deadline. After making his directing debut with the thriller The Rental, Dave Franco has found his next project, coming in to direct Somebody I Used to Know for Amazon Studios. Insiders also said line that Jay Ellis, Brie Larson, and Kirstie Clemens are on board to star. Brie also co-wrote the script with Franco, and the film was produced by Temple Hill's Marty Brown, Wick Godfrey, and Isaac Hunzer, and Black Bear's Stillman. Looks like a lot of people who are executive to produce. The film follows an workaholic Brie, who on a trip to her hometown spends a nightmare reminiscing her ex-boyfriend Sean, and which makes her start to question everything about her choices she's made and the person she's become. The only thing that gets more confusing is when she meets Cassidy, a younger woman who reminds her of the person she used to be. So it sounds like it's going to be a romantic comedy mixed maybe with horror.
Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, did you see The Rental yet?
No.
I believe it's on Hulu now. If I'm speaking correctly. I saw it about a year ago. I don't really remember it that much. I thought it was a okay directorial debut.
I think you mentioned about it last year on the podcast.
Yeah, I remember talking about it because I remember viewing it for anybody who wants to go visit on my Instagram. I did review it and watch it. I was really excited for it because it, was at Sundance and it was Dave Franco because I love Dave Franco. It was part of the Franco clan of people and family, so I was excited. I don't really remember it that much, but I kind of wish he was starring in it.
Mm.
But who knows how this is going to turn out. I think it's a big step for, him. He went on, like most directors, they direct, their small starter film and then they bump themselves up to a bigger and project for a studio. So
yeah, he's working slowly towards that. But I don't know. This sounds like an intriguing movie. I feel like I've heard the plot before, maybe in like one of those like 2000 movies, but maybe it'll be good.
Yeah, maybe it'll be different. Do you like Kirstie Clemens though, or Kelsey Clemens? I have no idea if I'm saying her name right.
She's fine. She's like, I don't know. She's not a memorable actress, but she's fine when she's in.
Yeah, she's a young actress. She's been on the rise mostly.
But I do have one more news before we move on.
Okay, what's the last piece of news?
All right, so I know you're not a gamer, but I want to talk about this because it looks so bad. So did you know we're getting a new Resident Evil reboot called Welcome to Raccoon City? It is what they say the accurate version of Resident Evil, not those terrible Paul W.S. No, wait, wrong one. Those terrible. Wait, is that his name, Paul W.S. Anderson, who did Mortal Kombat and the Resident Evil movies?
Yeah, that's what.
Okay.
Paul Thomas Anderson is the one you might be thinking of.
Yeah.
Who did Inherent Vice and stuff.
Okay, yeah. Paul W.S. Anderson is the one. He does all of it. So yeah, the one with Mila Jovovich, those ones are. There's something, and they released the first images for the new Resident Evil movie, and it looks awful. It looks like we're going right back. It looks so cheap, like Party City. The people they got to play Leon and Claire, they look like budget version. Like they probably are the nicest people, but they do not look like the part.
Well, it's got Robbie Amell, who's like super nice. I've seen like in a lot of stuff. He's had.
I don't think a Resident Evil movie is. No, they should have gotten the actors from the second game remake that they had for the Netflix Infinite Darkness series, but this is not. No, it doesn't. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it could be good because apparently they are being faithful to the games, but it's just like I don't know. It just seems like. It's not a good step with these first images, and that's all I got for them.
Are you gonna watch it though?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna see it because I want to. I don't know. Those Resident Evil movies in the 2000s, I was like, I'm so sick of this. Like, we need a Resident Evil movie that's actually good.
When is it set to come out again?
October.
October. This October, the Resident Evil film.
Oh no, January. Whoops, it is January. I just thought.
So I'm saying to myself, that wasn't in the lineup in the earlier discussion.
Yeah, but that's gonna do it for all the news we have. If you have any news, you can send them to us at MK Productions Podcast on Instagram. Link in the description for that. We'll credit you and you read the news story, of course. But we get into the topic of the Kissing Booth 3, like I said before. Kristen has seen a movie that she says is so awful that we just had to talk about it. And you know what? I'm a sucker for terrible films, so let's talk about it. And the movie in question is He's All That, which is a gender swap remake of 1999's She's All That, and which in turn was a modern adaptation of George Bernard Shaw's 1913 play Pigmentation and George Coker's 1964 film My Fair Lady. It stars Addison Rae, Tanner Buchanan, Madison Pettis, Peyton Meyer, Rachel Leigh Cook, and Matthew Lillard.
We're live here, and surprise, we're on the set of my boyfriend's brand new music video. Jordan! What are you doing?
Okay, let's not freak out.
What did you do to me? We're over, okay? Touch it! What?
You're still alive.
Oh, shit! Is she serious? Is she a good girl?
Breakups are hard.
I was humiliated.
You're going viral in the wrong way.
It will get better. Makeovers are my thing.
When I first met him, he was 120 pounds of bad hair.
Why don't you just make another Jordan?
I will create the next prom king.
You make it sound so easy.
You don't think I can do it?
No, but I do think it'll be fun watching you try.
A bet?
Oh.
I'm in.
And yeah, this has been getting bombed by critics everywhere. And if you want to watch it, it's on Netflix. So, Kristen, what the hell is this movie?
It's a disaster.
Okay, that's it. Review done.
Yeah, I am really, really angry about this film. There's every year where a film gets me so angry that makes me say, I understand a movie is hard to make, but I don't understand how this was made.
Or who asked for this?
Or exactly.
Who's like, we need to do a gender reverse film of She's All That.
I mean, like, this could have worked in a way, but it doesn't because it's of its star, Addison Rae. And first of all, do you know what's funny? When I'm looking at the poster for it, it makes me think of Justin. Do you ever hear of that movie, Justin and Kelly?
Yes.
It makes me think of that poster. Don't ask me why. And the cast that, you just mentioned, are decent people, at least in my eyes. And they all, like, aside from Addison Rae, who marks her acting debut in this big, big project, I mean, everyone at least has some kind of professionalism in the industry with it because of Tanner and his Cobra Kai role, Madison Pettis, who's, a former Disney star and been the Game Plan, and Matthew Lillard, and Rachel Leigh Cook, and then Peyton Meyer, who's also a Disney kid. So there's like a whole bunch of people in this that could have made this movie really work, but due to the script, the direction, and then Addison Rae, and then the product placement that's god-awfully everywhere, this movie is, I don't understand how any of this came to be.
You know what? That's a simple question. That's a simple answer. This was meant to get Addison Rae exposure to the mainstream. Because, when you think of TikTok, who do you think of? You'd be like, oh, like the D'Amelios, Addison Rae, and Bryce Hall, or whatever the hell their names are. And, it's funny, too, because I just heard about Addison Rae a few months ago during the UFC fight when Conor McGregor broke his leg against Dustin Poirier. She made a tweet. And she took a picture. She was on the media carpet. She was in the media press event. And she's like, 6 months ago, I was in journalism school. And now I'm here at UFC. And that was incredibly disrespectful to many journalists who spent their whole careers like going to different schools and everything, different jobs, trying to get land that field of reporting, like sports reporting. And she got fired for making that dumbass tweet. So, she doesn't seem like the brightest bulb. And seeing her in this, and you describing it like that, it just seems like that they're trying to get her mainstream. So be like, oh, you won't just be TikTok. But here's the thing. TikTok people, like the big ones, all they do is like sing that like lip syncing thing, like when Musical.ly was around. that doesn't translate to acting, like, at all. So what makes you think they can carry a movie as the lead role?
I knew Addison Rae from a meme. Like, I didn't watch TikTok really or anything.
Mm-hmm.
And the way I knew Addison Rae was this meme is that, like, because of this song that she has, and I forgot what it's called, but I think this might be her song Obsessed. I don't know, because I don't listen to her music. She's also a singer. Shocking. But the meme is, I need a bad B, Addison Rae, little shorty, the baddest, yeah. She got her ways. And then she's like, these lyrics are obviously very heartfelt to me because I am Addison Rae. That's what she says. And the Lyric Genius video, that was just a meme of itself. And I just thought it was the funniest thing. Like, if you just watch her reaction to that, it's great. It's so funny.
Man, TikTok should have been banned. Convince me otherwise. Jesus.
Okay.
Yeah.
But anyways, maybe I can promote myself on a hot second. I'm also on TikTok, but don't nearly post anything nearly that cringy that Addison Rae does. If you want to follow me, it's also Miss Filmingo on TikTok. So, hey. This film, on the other hand, is just, like I said, a nightmare. It's like Addison Rae playing herself. She plays a character named Bridget, which I never heard of that name before. We're in that stage of millennial names where you don't understand why their names are named that name.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand. I never heard of somebody named Bridget, but I know of Bridget, but, like, you know, that's what makes me think of what the, like, you know, the G-E-T-T at the end. But it's Paget. Paget. Mm-hmm. But then I also think of Paget Queen. Maybe that's why they named her that. But she's basically a social media influencer, and she's at, like, her, like, graduation, ready to graduate. She's got some scholarship money, and then she has this boyfriend played by Peyton Meyer, and she's also running for home prom queen, and he's running for prom king, and he ends up cheating on her with, you know, some woman named Aniston. She gets really mad. She throws some kind of cream puffs at him, and it causes her, you know, to blow up, because then she's got, like, a snot booger coming out of her nose, and it shows her up close and personal, and Madison Pettis records it. She doesn't stop recording it, and she loses all of her sponsorship because of the gross thing that was coming out of her nose. And she doesn't think she'll win prom queen now, and she won't get all of her sponsorship stuff. She won't have all of her followers again. So her and Madison Pettis make a bet about, you know, about turning into the, you know, loser, unpopular, you know, anti-social media, turning the boy into, like, you know, the hot model Instagram kid who's played by Tanner Buchanan to be the prom king, and it's a bet, and then Tanner doesn't know about it, and it just becomes this love story, and it's pretty much what we saw in the original. It's all that, and it's Mark Waters, and, you know, we know Mark Waters from Freaky Friday.
Oh, yeah, I see his.
Just Like Heaven, the Spiderwick Chronicles, the Ghost of Girlfriend's Past, Mr. Popper's Penguins, Vampire Academy, Bad Santa 2, Magic Camp, and now this. Like, his career went all the way down, I would have to say, just right after the Spiderwick Chronicles, and now this has hit him like an ultimate all-time low, because I guarantee you he was hired as a director because he knew he can probably make this like the early 2000s films, how like Mean Girls was and Freaky Friday was, because of his track record for directing those two films. Those were nearly almost 20 years ago. Now Here we are in this day and age where they're trying to revolve that, given us millennials, they want to market off of that. However, they can't because it's so cringy bad. And, like, I swear to God, Madison Rae's delivery in this film is awful.
Does she sound like a robot? She's like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you've done this.
She kind of comes off like that. That's more like Kourtney Kardashian, because Kourtney Kardashian plays the one who sponsors Addison Rae throughout the film, and is like takes away from all of her social media stuff, and it just becomes like her, like she's only in like 3 scenes, Kourtney Kardashian, and the rest of the time it's cardboard Addison Rae. Because they try to make it like, you know, her kind of thing, and the film is so awkwardly like walking and talking so much of that, because you can see the cuts around it, because when I was reading and doing some research, apparently Addison Rae was so bad on set she couldn't remember most of her lines.
Dumbass.
No, I wouldn't call her that, but like she's just clearly not made to act. If she can't remember her lines like that, it just shows that maybe they should have casted someone else. She's not good. I can't begin to tell you how just uncoordinated her acting is, and just her delivery in general. Like in the scenes that he's like in with her, I just can't stand it, because it's just so cringy bad. Like there's a couple of scenes, especially like when he's like, oh, I fall for her, like there's a scene where it's like, you know, a karaoke scene, and she sings Teenage Dream by Katy Perry, and she does like her TikTok moves, like, you know, and she's singing it, and all of a sudden she sees Peyton Meyer come in with his new girlfriend, and then she gets stage fright, and then Tanner Buchanan, he runs up on stage and starts singing the song with her, and then she's like, the two hit it off, and then somehow she gains like all of her social media followers back in some way. And Kourtney Kardashian's like, oh, he's hot, like in the worst way possible. It's a very, very shallow film of itself, because the film also has like no sense of time. The scenes jump from one end to the other, and there is so much product placement that I literally took down every single product. Okay, well, first of all, we have ESO, the lip balm and lotion, Core Water, Bose headphones, and you know they got the sponsorship from Bose headphones, because the sister says in the film, bro, never touch my Bose. Lucky Charms, Pizza Hut, KFC, because someone says, can I get some KFC to go? And the girl grabs the bucket, and then the girl continues to eat the KFC, even onto the next scene. Like Old Navy, Smart Food popcorn, Doritos, Smart Chips, and oh my god, ADT. Yeah, it wasn't good for all those. They advertise, because here's the thing, when it comes to advertisements in films, they pay to have them in there. Like I would have understood at least maybe 1 or 2, but to have so many in this film, it's ridiculous. It's a nightmare. And then the cast of itself, Matthew Lillard, our boy. I know, I lost my tongue there for a second. Matthew Lillard shows up. He's not there physically because he plays the principal, and he does like some over the speaker stuff, like, you know, morning announcement stuff. And he doesn't show up physically until the end of the film, and he tries his goddamn best. So
he always tries his best, so that's a good thing.
Like he shows like physically at the prom, and then at the end there's this like Kiss Me, you know the song, so kiss me under the milky twilight, all that song, they remixed it, and it's horribly done, and I don't like the remix because that's what originally was in the original, so they have to mark it off to it. And in fact, Rachel Lee Cook says, oh, why does this song sound so familiar? And then at the end of it, you know, there's a horse-drawn carriage, you know, moment at the end where Tanner Buchanan comes in riding on a horse, because he works at a horse farm too. And earlier in the film, Addison Rae goes into the barn and gets covered in horse poopies, and at the end, you know, Tanner comes riding in on a horse-drawn carriage type, you know, crap, and they end up together living happily ever after. And this film has a 33% on Rotten Tomatoes. I don't understand how it is at a 33%. So if anybody wants to talk to me about that, feel free to let me know, because I really want to change that score on Rotten Tomatoes to a 0. Are you going to watch this at some point, Mac? Because I would really love to hear your opinions.
Maybe. I probably won't talk about it, but it's just no.
So I guarantee you this is going to be nominated for some kind of Razzies. And it makes me say, like, wow, Netflix stoops so low because of this stuff. And then yet they release, stuff like The Irishman, The Marriage Story, Army of the Dead, and now they have this. So great job, Netflix. You ruined my life with this film, because it just shows how, like, young girls need to be on social media in order to get ahead in life, which they don't.
No.
And as long as you be yourself and you don't have to put on this falsehood, you don't have to have social media. And it sees women as very, very little, and just shows women are like more like props as themselves, to be like marketing themselves for advertisements. It's not good. It's really, really not good. You should have seen me the night of when I watched this film. I had so much anger in myself, though, I couldn't even sleep that night. Because I watched this Saturday night, I did not sleep. That's how angry I was. That's my sort of review of, like, rant. I feel like I did not give a proper review of it. I just ranted about for, like, I don't know how long, about the disastrous of what is He's All That. So don't watch it.
And speaking of young adult movies, let's move on to the main topic, talking about bad ones. Let's talk about The Kissing Booth 3.
Since it's the last summer at the beach house,
we would be more than happy to stay here and help you look after this house.
We would take amazing care of the place.
What do you say?
Okay.
What? It's our beach bucket list! A long time ago, Lee and I put together a list of all the crazy things we wanted to do together before going to college. But when you decide to escape reality, eventually you're gonna have to come back to it. I have to pick a school and make one of my 2 favorite people very unhappy.
The end of a trilogy, the third and final movie of the franchise, the Kissing Booth trilogy. I can't believe I'm saying that. It's directed again by Vince Marcello, and it has Joey King, Joel Courtney, and Jacob Elordi. And this is the plot of this film. Elle, played by Joey King. It's summertime, and they graduate high school. Now they got to go to college, and she has to decide if she wants to go to Berkeley with her best friend Lee, or move out with Lee's brother to Boston to go to Harvard. And she just feels the pressure of trying to figure out what to do. And and you may think that this is the final movie, so they actually try. And let me tell you, no, it's still bad.
It's still bad. It didn't make me angry as the sequel did. When I watched the sequel, I remember being, like, really, really angry at it, and I just was, like, really frustrated how it was. This one didn't make me feel as frustrated, but it just showed that nothing has changed at all from anybody learning from the last films. However, that's not saying much. That, when they filmed both films at the same time. However, when the release of The Kissing Booth 2 came out, the criticism was there. There wasn't much of a time to improve upon it. I mean, they could have reshot some stuff, but then, COVID and everything, and Joey King being Joey King, she's been in a lot of stuff coming up lately. So there might have been not enough time, so they had to work around what they had. So there wasn't much that was taken criticism from the second film, and then because everything that was criticized in the second film applied to this film.
I wrote about this in my review I sent to Scribe. The problem with these movies is just the characters. Absolutely. It's the writing and the characters. They don't, the people who write this movie, they don't know how young people talk. They just Google the slang for 20-something-year-olds and, like, teenagers, and they put all this movie, and then, like, the characters are just, the only good character is Lee, played by Joel Courtney. He's the best actor in this movie. On all 3 of these movies, I have to say, he's entertaining. He's the only character I cared about, but when you make your main character...
No, I wouldn't even say that. Joel Courtney is just the obnoxious kid who doesn't get whatever he wants, and that's the same thing like the brother. He never gets anything.
Me?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? No. That's the worst character is Elle. She's manipulative.
She's Elle. Elle's just as bad.
Selfish. She's like
they're all bad. They're all
Lee,
like these rich kids who like are extremely obnoxious who can't get anything that they want.
Like I said, I think Lee's the only character that I somewhat liked. But everyone else was like, I don't like anyone. Like the writing just makes these movies so bad, and you're thinking, okay, maybe this is the last one. They're gonna improve them. No, the characters do some dumb decisions. Like Elle is a pathological liar. She lies to both Noah and Lee, saying, "Hey, I got waitlisted to go to Berkeley and Harvard," but she got accepted, and she keeps pushing it off. To like, I'm like, wow, you are such.
And the annoying thing, she never worries about herself. She worries about everybody else going on around her life. That she didn't focus and say, hey, I want to focus on myself.
That's what Noah
I want to go.
Noah said, like, you've always been like everyone else, but what about you? And it's like, wow, you're actually making sense, because she always tries to be with, I don't know, it's just this movie it's the writing that bothers me. I feel like with better writing, it could be an okay like film series, but it's just like it makes you like want to smash your head against the wall.
Especially because of Elle, I think that's the majority of it. And then the second thing is Jacob Elordi as Noah, because Noah is probably the worst boyfriend.
I get 50 Shades of Grey vibes with them. I'm like, this seems like a very toxic relationship and a flimsy one out.
When I was thinking about it, because over the course of these whole films, Noah is very still possessive, controlling, and has so many anger issues that it just showed over the last 3 films. Nothing has changed along with Elle at all. I don't know with anything that was taken away for anybody with this film, because I was like, what is there to walk away for with any of these characters? Really? Nothing.
The only thing I take away from this film is that if you have a friend, just don't fall in love with the brother. Just keep it. Don't date. You know, I will give them credit. I thought they were going to go the cliche route, saying, oh, the best friends, they had feelings for each other the whole time, and they fell in love and everything. Like, I'm glad they didn't do that. But, like, I don't know. This just feels like it teaches very, like, toxic relationship trends. That's what I feel like these films have taught.
Did you notice how nothing of the kissing booth also shows up at the end?
Yeah, that's another thing. Since like at least the first movie was like
makes sense of having the kissing booth at all.
At least the first movie was like, hey, we're doing a carnival, so we'll make a kissing booth. Like, okay, that was the beginning of the movie. That was like, you know, the whole thing of it to be like, okay. The second one, it was like, okay, well, all right, the kissing booth is here. This one was just like, hey, remember where it all started with the kissing booth? It's at the end. We got to put this in. I was like, there's no point in putting it in. It's like you're already at the end of it.
It doesn't make sense, because even when I think back, you know, it's like saying, why is High School Musical called High School Musical? Well, it's about a musical and a musical. The same thing like the sequel. In High School Musical, it's a musical, but there's a musical show that's going to happen later on in the movie. High School Musical 3. High School Musical, they're doing a musical about their experience in high school with the characters. This has nothing to do with the kissing booth except for the first one. When we last watched both films, they had nothing with the kissing booth.
No.
Which is so stupid to me. And I'm just like, why are we wasting our time calling it the kissing booth? It could have been called like Elle's Journey or some type of like obnoxious stuff. But do you think there's a chance for them to experience more kissing booth stuff? Like maybe no, you don't want any more, Mac?
No, it's not even that. It's like, what can you do? Because the ending of this movie, they were like, it was 6 years after they graduated college. And I love whenever they do a time jump in one of these movies, you can tell they don't have the money to like get adult actors to maybe
so play. They just cut Elle's hair.
They cut like their hair. They cut their hair. They put them in like more professional looking clothing. I'm like, okay, but like, there's nothing really to say anymore. They went to college, they graduated. Like this feels like a high school journey. And I will say at least that felt kind of complete when they graduated college. The time jump was weird, but it was good that like we followed them from like what was it? Was it freshman year of high school? And then
No, it was like a junior year.
oh, from junior year of high school in the first one, then we saw them graduate in their senior year, and then this one was just like that last summer before. Hey, we got to grow up, we got to go to college and everything. So I do like that sort of trend, but I don't think you can do anything else with it. What like a kissing booth reunion or something? Like I no, there's nothing. I think these three films are just enough for this story. And who knows? Maybe if the author writes another book, I don't know.
Were you surprised to see Rachel and Lee still together?
No, because she said that we might find each other again. And I knew that, like, okay, they'll probably end up together again.
Yeah, and I think that was alluding to the same thing for Noah
and
Elle.
Elle, yeah. But they didn't flat out say, hey, you want to take a motorcycle ride when I'm back in town? So, okay, and at the ending, they were just on their motorcycles, just like riding around. I was like, okay. Well, I mean, I don't know. I can see them making another one where they're adults now, but they still act like kids.
And one other thing that I was kind of like annoyed about was seeing one character return, and that was Marco.
Yeah.
He's still a simp for Noah. Not Noah. Oh my God, for Elle. Like, you couldn't tell that, she obviously didn't pick you. She picked the most toxic person in her life to still be with and spend the rest of her summer with, and then for you to say, okay, I will stick around since she said yes, but that doesn't mean you should do it. There's no need to hang around because all you're going to do is cause trouble. That's all he did. So
yeah, there's no reason why Elle is like I said, the writing, her character is just dumb. Like, why would you invite a guy
that caused so much trouble in the last film?
Yeah, like that, like everyone can see, because even Noah said in this movie, was like everyone can see that you like Elle, and like it's like even the audience, you're like, man, he really likes her, and she just doesn't know. And they kiss on stage when doing the Dance Revolution.
Yeah, they did, and
it's like she's like, oh, I didn't mean to. I thought we were just friends.
Yeah, and it's just like clear too. She has still feelings for Marco, and obviously didn't go away. If she was willing to have him stick around for the summer. Like, I understand not every relationship could work out, but the great lengths that Marco does to be with Elle is just like, all right, might as well have two boyfriends at this point.
Yeah, it's like, it's so dumb.
And then they have the relationship going back to the dad in the film, of Elle's dad, and bringing in a mom.
Yeah, I felt that was made Elle a little selfish. She's like, how can you be so selfish, Dad? I'm like, listen, your mom died like 6 years ago, and your dad has been, he's been taking care of you and your brother, and Molly Ringwald has been like a great surrogate mother for you. And like, freaking you and your dad's like, I feel like I want to be happy. Like, I don't want to feel lonely anymore because like all my kids are growing up. They're going to, not want to be with me. And it's like, oh, you're so selfish for, with another woman. It's so dumb.
I just thought it was so unnecessary to follow. Like, I don't understand how Elle had time to do anything because
she had work.
She had work. She was cleaning up the house. She was doing a bucket list. She was doing stuff with Noah. So I was like, how does she have time for anything? She did not have time. And it's like, events also happened in this film because of the bucket list. Like, random stuff happens. Between the the Flash Dance, the Mario Kart, and then...
Oh my God, that Mario Kart, I need to tell you, that was the most cringy sequence about video games I've ever seen. And like,
were you expecting that? I'm sure they got off like a YouTube video and said, "Oh, we could put that in a movie," because you've seen YouTube videos where people have dressed up like that and they wanted to do that.
I don't think you're allowed to throw stuff when you're on a high-powered go-kart at people. You get kicked off the course.
Yeah, well, obviously they talked to some manager and said, well, we're going to throw some stuff out the cart and we're going to make it fun. So obviously that didn't work out because, well, no, I shouldn't say work out. It worked out in their favor.
Yeah, but I
they
saw
were
that.
kicked off.
I knew that scene was coming because I did see, like, there was pictures people posted everywhere. I'm like, uh-oh, what scene is this? And I was like, when they said costumes, I'm like, I didn't cross my mind, I'm like, Mario? And then I saw, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so bad. And then it's worse. Noah gets mad because Elle asked Marco to wear the Wario outfit when Noah's like, I'm not dressing up. And then he get like, you asked him like, well, you said no. Why didn't you just put on the costume trying to be the cool guy?
And just sucked it up, and then otherwise he wouldn't have been any of this mess with Marco.
Yeah, they asked you first, and you said no, and you get hurt. You get butthurt over it.
Exactly. Noah gets butthurt over so much stuff over this film. Yeah, but thank God it's all over now. I'm so done.
Yeah, these movies are like, remember, like, let's reminisce. Remember when you said let's review the Kissing Booth 2 for the podcast last year? We watched them back to back on Netflix.
Yes.
And I watched the second one again, and the second one was like 2 hours long.
The sequel was like 2 hours and like 15 minutes long.
Yeah, I said the second one is 2 hours. The other ones are like an hour and like 50 plus minutes, but it still feels long.
Yeah, they really dragged it out to great lengths for these films.
Do you feel like some of these movies that like they could have just ended it like at a certain scene, but they had to keep going?
Yeah, there's times I think I could have felt that, but obviously it didn't end.
I don't. Oh my gosh! But if we got nothing else to talk about the Kissing Booth, how would you rank these movies, and what is your ranking for Kissing Booth 3?
From the best one, it would have to be Kissing Booth 1, then Kissing Booth 3, then Kissing Booth 2.
That's my same ranking too.
Yeah, because I just remember just really, really hating myself after watching the Kissing Booth 2. Of like how toxic I felt like if their relationship really explored that film and how bad Noah is and how bad of a boyfriend he was.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just kind of bummed because the whole series doesn't show like Jacob Elordi at his best. It just shows him being like a bad person because I finally watched Euphoria about a month ago and I reviewed it on my Instagram. But he's actually a really good actor. Here in the Kissing Booth films, he's not that great. So, none of the films have showed off any of the acting chops. So,
no.
If you want to actually watch a really good, rom-com teen series, I suggest watching To All the Boys I Loved. The first one and the third one are pretty good. The sequel, it was a letdown.
All three movies need to be good. It can't be just 1 and 2. 1 and 3.
That is true, though, but then again, no other romantic rom-com, not binge-worthy series of films haven't been that good, because there hasn't been many of them. But
yeah, that's my same, and I'd probably give this like a 4. No, I'll give it a 5 out of 10, because it didn't make me want to rip my hair out, but it was still like...
For the Kissing Booth film?
Yeah, the 3. Yeah, number 3. I feel like that is... It's
fine.
You're
too nice. You're too nice. I gave it a D-.
Well, mine's is a number. Yours is that would still be an F if you convert that to a letter. 5. Mm-hmm. If that's it for the Kissing Booth 3, let's get into and wrapping this up, shall we?
So let's take it home.
Okay, so we're gonna start off with the weekend box office reports. We have not done that in a while. So for the weekend of August 27th, 29th, we got the first top 10 highest earning movies. So at number 10, we have Old. Number 9, The Night House. 8, Prodigy. 7, The Suicide Squad. 6 is Respect. 5 is Don't Breathe 2. 4 is Jungle Cruise. Number 3 is Paw Patrol the movie. Number 2 is Free Guy. And number 1 is Candyman with $22 million grossed in its opening weekend. And before we get off, we would like to give you the M&K upfront. So, Christian, what do we have coming up for the people who are listening at home?
All right, coming up on the next episode of the M&K Productions podcast, we will be discussing video game films.
Yeah!
This is Mac's highly requested episode to do, and we will be bringing on some special guests for this episode. Guests will be announced soon. If you want to tune into the Instagram page and check out our stories to figure out who will be on the episode, look out for that. But other than that, we also have eventually our fall movie preview along with our Ted Bundy review coming up soon for that during that time. So be on the lookout. But I have a feeling eventually down the road we will review Candyman. If you've seen Candyman, let us know how the comments are. I've heard some mixed reviews about it.
I've heard good things.
Are you going to watch it eventually?
Yeah,
are you going to see it in theaters or are you going to rent it?
I'm going to try to see it in theaters. I'm going to get up and go.
Do you know what movie you should go see in theaters though?
What?
Free Guy. I saw that.
I'm not watching that in theaters. I'll wait till
Free Guy was really good to see in theaters. I thought it was really, really funny.
I'll wait till it's in streaming.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll hit streaming, but I have a feeling it's gonna like top some critics stuff when it comes down to like the Critics' Choice Awards for comedies and stuff like that. So, and this is actually the second movie Ryan Reynolds has been in for this over the summer because he was also in the Hitman Bodyguard's Wife.
Yeah, that one.
Isn't that great? So, yeah. That's it on our end.
Yeah, so next time, so leave in the comments below when this comes out. What's your favorite video game movie? What's your worst video game movie? Because you're going to have so much fun with this.
And until then, this has been Kristen.
And I've been Mac, and we'll see you all next time. Peace.
Bye.